Hello and welcome to another episode of the Firearms Insider Gun and Gear Review Podcast. This is episode 92. On this show we showcase gun reviews, gear, and anything else a gun enthusiast may be looking for. We strive to evaluate products from an unbiased and honest perspective. I'm your Huckleberry, Ryan Cross from the Firearms Radio Network, your source for broadcast for shooters, hunters, and gun enthusiasts. Bandwidth for this episode is brought to you by Patriot Patch Co. Order our first patch design. I'm your Huckleberry with Doc Holliday on there. If you didn't get the reference from the movie Tombstone, you can order that today for pre-order, and you'd be supporting me and Jake and our new venture together. Also announcements, just saying that there's guests welcome on the show, and if you use the promo code RTTCombo10, you get 10% off your next order at Bravo Concealment. I'll be doing a review on a Bravo Concealment holster in this episode, and so as long as that review's up, they told me that promo code is going to be good for you guys to use. That all said, today I got with me joining TJ, I got Chad, and I got Tony Simon in the house. How's it going, guys?
It's going good.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, you guys.
So, what did everyone do in guns this week, and everyone talk at the same time?
Go, Chad.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, you mean like that? Don't talk at the same time. Well, let's see. What did I do? I loaded some 9mm ammo. I made a case gauge for that 9mm ammo because, well, I figured I needed one and I wanted to see if I could make one. And that's about it. Got in some more stuff to review. Put that stuff on. And here in a little while, I'll probably review it. So that's about it for me. How about you, TJ?
Okay, my mute button wasn't working. Anyways, so how exactly did you make a case gauge?
On a lathe.
You have a chamber reamer?
No, actually, I cut it. It took forever.
Sounds like it.
You just look up the chamber specs from Sammy or wherever. They're all over.
And just hope it's right enough to be used as a proper gauge.
Basically, you measure it. You know, you can measure. You can't really measure the taper, but you can measure, you know, where it starts and where it ends, and then the depth. So.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I guess I had a couple things happen since the last time I was on the show. I picked up a Lone Wolf Timberwolf 9mm compact from Zach over there. Sent it to me for a review, so I'll be shooting that in the coming weeks and months and putting the review up for that. And it's pretty cool if you don't know what the Lone Wolf stuff is. I know Ryan had one, but he traded it away for a revolver, if I remember correctly.
We're not talking about that.
But so it's basically a Glock that's not even I think the way Lone Wolf makes it up, there's not a single Glock part in the thing, even down to the pins and everything is completely Lone Wolf. They make everything except for the magazines. And then also I sold a shotgun. Part of the deal, the guy didn't have all the cash I wanted, so he traded me I think a Wolf break action 50 caliber muzzle loader. So I wasn't something that I super really wanted or needed, but I figured it might be fun, and been trying to sell this shotgun for a while, so I figured it's probably the best deal I'm getting. So might shoot that soon. Probably won't. Probably just sit in the safe for a little while.
Right on. Are we going to unmute Tony so we can ask him what he did this week?
I think he has to unmute himself.
Yeah, he's got to unmute himself, Tony. Look at the top of your screen.
There you go.
All right.
How's that?
You good?
Must have been. Here we go. What did I do this week? Well, a few weeks ago, I got browbeat by TJ because he's evil like that, into finishing my AR build. So there's my Palmetto State Armory upper with my G-Wax Armory lower. It's pretty cool. The only thing I have to do, if you can see, is purchase the charging handle and the bolt. Bolt should be ordered tonight. I found one I wanted. And the charging handle, I'm getting a regular GI charging handle. So that's what I did this week in guns, and I can't wait to I also have to buy a comp a comp for it, and other than that, it's pretty cool. So I can't wait to shoot it.
Don't be like some of these open carry goofballs and forget to put a rear sight on it, Tony.
I don't need a rear sight because I'm just that BA. I'm just that much operating operationally.
That's right. That instinctive point shooting is where it's at.
I do instinctive point shooting. Instinctive dynamic non-permissive point shooting.
It's dynaptive, Tony. Get with the program.
Dynaptive. I know where.
Don't tell me what it is.
I watched the vapor trail of my 9mm.
I can curve it. I can curve it.
Nice. Well, all I did was I carried inside of a movie theater. I went and saw Jurassic World, and you never know when them dinosaurs are going to come out the screen. So I actually forgot I was carrying, but actually I carry all the time when I go to movies, because if I'm going to pay upwards to over $20 for some tickets for entertainment, and I don't have any form of protection other than a sign, well, I'm sorry, I'm not going to comply with that. So until somebody pats me down and kicks me out, I'm going to keep doing it.
Yeah, a little secret, Ryan. They don't care enough.
Yeah, they don't. In fact, after I got done watching the movie, and I thought, oh, well, I bet they have a sign. Well, they don't have a sign on the door or on the windows. They have a tiny little placard when you're buying tickets, but it was so small, it wasn't enough to protect me from somebody that would want to do harm anyway. Not that it would to begin with. So if the bad guys definitely couldn't notice it, if they were looking for it, there's no way I'm going to let that be my only protection. So it was all good. I actually carried using this new Alien Gear Cloak 3.0. This is their brand new inside the waistband holster. So I'll be reviewing that probably next week. Extremely comfortable. So it's kind of an update on our review. I did a review on the 2.0, and so I'll be doing an update on the 3.0 holster.
Nice. Yeah, I look forward to hearing what you think about that.
Yeah, I really like it. It's super comfortable. I carried my Glock 19, and I typically actually stop carrying my 19 because it's a little bit more uncomfortable and blocky compared to what I'm used to carrying now. Is my Smith & Wesson M&PC kind of filled that role better. But I'm actually been carrying the 19 more, so it's kind of nice to give all my children equal attention.
So, is that the same price point as the 2.0?
You'll have to wait for the review.
Come on. Or I can just go over there and look.
Yeah, just go look. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head.
You're making it hard on me, Ryan.
Yeah. So, that's it. Let's get right into the product spotlight. And this is going to be, probably majority of this episode we're going to spend talking about this rifle because there's so much to be said. We're going to talk about the new Ruger Precision Rifle, or the RPR. This is something that Ruger has just kind of debuted, but those in the communities, Sniper's Hide and stuff, they've kind of known about it for a while because they've been doing some testing with Ruger and kind of checking it out. Ruger really did its homework and made sure they got this thing right. So what it is, it's a bolt-action rifle, but it's got lots of AR-15 components to it. So you get the modularity of the AR-15 platform, and you can customize certain furniture how you like, but for all intents and purposes, it's a bolt-action rifle in a chassis that just happens to be an AR-15. So we're going to be talking about it in detail, and I think probably just talking about one end of the gun and the other, honestly. But first of all, I'm going to tell you the price point, because this is why this gun is going to be so popular for a while. You're probably going to get tired of hearing about it if you're in the long-range precision shooting community. The price point on this guy is $1,399, so $1,400 is the MSRP. Street price, it's going to be $200-$300 below that. So you're looking at between probably about $1,000 and $1,100 for a rifle that's already good to go for a precision rifle match, or for hunting long range, or just whatever you want to do, make small groups of holes far distance. Right away, their marketing claim saying that this rifle is sub-MOA at 1,600 yards, and that is an outrageous accuracy claim that I've never known any company with the balls enough to say that. I mean, I still scoff when people say sub-MOA at 1,000 yards. Ruger went and took it to the next level to 1,600 yards. Now, this rifle is coming in 3 chamberings. You got your 308, you got your 6.5 Creedmoor, and you got your 243 Winchester. So you got 6 millimeter, 6.5 millimeter, and then you got 30 cal.
So Ryan,
go ahead.
Just real quick to touch on that accuracy thing. Now, when they say 1,600 yards, 1 MOA or sub MOA, that means it's going to be a 16-inch spread at 1,600 yards, right?
That is correct.
They're not claiming 1 inch at 1,600 yards. They're claiming the 1 MOA. Okay.
Yeah.
Just double check.
MOA gets bigger at every 100 yards. So
right.
MOA is 1 inch at 100 yards, 2 inches at 200 yards, etc. So at 1,000 yards, MOA is 10-inch circle. 1,600 yards, it's a 16-inch circle.
Okay.
So, a pizza.
Yeah. Which translates into a chest. It translates into a chest shot at 1,600 yards against any man-sized target.
Right. So thank you for reminding me of that, because as I'm spitting out terms, it's good so people know exactly what we're talking about, what your group size.
Mm-hmm.
16 inches is actually a very impressive group size at that yardage. I mean, that's I'm just totally blanking on how far a mile is in terms of yards. Isn't it like 17?
Yeah, 1,700
yards. So it's just
something.
shy. They're not saying this is a mile maker. Obviously, they were smart. You say it's a mile maker, people are going to shoot it a mile and go, hey, how come my bullets are keyholing? But they say this is a 1,600-yard sub-MOA rifle. See, that's a smart term. Now, I guarantee you that does not apply to the 308 chambering, because I load for 308, and my most accurate load is still with that 168 grain Sierra Match King, and it hits the transonic wall at 1,000 yards. And that's an important thing for you guys to know, is that when your bullet is going supersonic at long ranges, it's eventually going to slow down just with the drag and air and all, that it's going to slow down to transonic, meaning it's going to stop going beyond the speed of sound, hit the speed of sound, and start going slower than the speed of sound. That's what they call the transonic wall, and that's going to inherently destabilize your bullet. Now, they do make bullet sizes and shapes that actually like restabilize when they switch to subsonic speeds, and I'm not going to get into that, mostly because I don't know barely anything about it. But it's important to know that you're not going to get 1,600 yards sub-MOA accuracy with 308, because your bullet, depending on what type of bullet you're shooting, the ballistic coefficient, it's going to be destabilizing past 1,000. And I know mine do. I don't know if you're loading up, 3. You'd have to be shooting a Magnum in order to give the 30 cal enough gas to get there. So basically, you can count that out the window. What they're talking about is the more accurate of those 3 calibers, the 6.5 Creedmoor. So that's something that Ruger helped kind of set up that caliber way back in the day. And it's a 2.64 caliber bullet, and it's one of the more accurate ones. Everyone knows that 6.5 bullets are the bee's knees as far as accuracy these days. And then you've got 243, which 6mm is still a very good BC bullet. So you've got that option too if you want something that you can easily find 243 ammo at Walmart in any podunk town you live in. 6.5 Creedmoor is a little harder to come by, so you might end up having to order components, order ammo offline, or build it yourself. Or if you live in a good town that's got a good box store with all the exotic calibers, you'll probably be able to find it. So that said, this rifle is built to make very good groups and to get anybody into the precision rifle game at the best price you possibly could.
Right.
I mean, even buying a Remington 700 SPS, and then having it rebarreled in 6.5. I don't know if they offer that cheap rifle in 6.5 Creedmoor, but even going through all those steps, by the time you get all the components and features that are on this rifle onto that stock rifle that you built, like a 700, you're going to be way over this price range. So you really can't beat it as far as building it yourself, which is great because if you don't have the ability to build it yourself or the know-how at all, you don't have to. You can literally buy this from Ruger, slap a scope on there, zero it in, and you're good to go.
Yeah, and Ryan, you got to remember that, a lot of chassis will cost you the $1,300, so you're kind of getting that plus a gun.
Yeah, I mean, the cheapest chassis I've seen have been the 350, I think, and that's like the really minimalistic ones that just let you basically float the barrel and then take an AICS magazine, Accuracy International magazine. So that's actually where I'll first start, and the beauty of this design is that it takes a variety of magazines. So it'll take the SR magazines, the Magpul PMag 308 magazines. It'll take the AICS magazines. It'll take the M1A mags, the M14 mags. So there you go, man. You've got options for getting magazines, and you're not having to swap out any kind of mag wells. It looks like it'll just, the design of it is built to accept all of those.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Looked somewhere on their website. I couldn't point you in the right direction because I was just kind of browsing around, and maybe on this exploded view you can see a good, because if you go to the show notes, go to the link. It's ruger.com/micros/RPR, and that's their kind of big press release for it. And they show like a cutaway, and kind of like they have a side release button and a rear release paddle kind of integrated into the same thing. So you hit your, it takes the AR style mags, but it doesn't have the side release like we're used to. It's still a paddle style release like an M1A would be. And somehow they made them work together to where you can have both of them at the same time without swapping anything, which I think is like an engineering feat, basically. That's awesome that somebody was able to do that.
It does include 2 10-round PMags, so just to let you guys know that.
See, now are these
the easiest?
I'm wondering if the PMags that come with it, are they the Magpul's proprietary chassis magazine, or are they like the SR25 type magazines?
I'm guessing
they're the PMag AR10 magazines.
Okay, yeah, because I know Magpul came out with their own style of magazine. I'm pretty sure whenever they came out with their 700 chassis, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
so those are the PMag AC magazines, and those will definitely fit in this too.
Okay.
They're not really released yet, so that's probably they're not really including it here. But yeah, this shares a lot of, if you want a different stock, you can have one, put any kind of AR-15 stock on there because it has the receiver extension tube that screws into there. You can have your own AR-15 grip if you want to replace that. The handguard is an AR-15 handguard by Samson Engineering. However, I'm not sure if every single handguard out there is going to be compatible. Just the way that the barrel fits into the receiver. There's kind of a special design on the inside of that Samson handguard that I think so this comes with key mod, right? And if you're an M-LOK guy, like straight up, or you want big beefy Picatinny without buying the rail sections, you might have to hold off and wait until Samson puts out, some more options. I don't even know if Samson makes M-LOK. I didn't look into that.
Actually, Ryan, I was watching Ruger's video, and they said most handguards will fit. AR handguards will fit, but I'm assuming you're still going to have to trial and error it to find out which is which.
I assume the most is just to kind of, cover themselves from that one guy that has that one-off handguard that won't fit, and they want to save themselves.
Right.
And you figure once this gets out there, the manufacturer is going to be able to tell you if it's going to fit on the Ruger rifle or not.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So in the show notes I have several links. First, you get the links to the Ruger page where you can see their exploded view and all their kind of marketing statements on there. But I've also got 2 third-party links. One that goes to scout.com, and so there's a sniper's hide review on this rifle. So there's a good video of him shooting it with suppressed, a couple nice shots of it on the bench and shots of his groups. But the third link I got in there is to realguns.com, and they actually have an in-depth article. And they actually took the rifle apart and took photos. So I know this is what a lot of you guys are going to be interested in seeing, okay, what's the barrel look like? How can I replace things and add my own parts? So I'm looking at the handguard, and it's got what's called a splined surface on the inside. So it's almost got like, machined on the inside of the handguard. It's got those ridges that mate with a thermal bushing, which goes on the handguard nut, which kind of helps jam in with the barrel nut. So this thing, you can disassemble, you can take the rifle out using an AR-15 barrel wrench, and then you can replace it with another barrel if you want to rechamber it. However, you're going to have to get the go/no-go gauges and make sure you have your headspace correct, because it's not like an AR-15 where the headspace is kind of somewhat built into the receiver. So you're going to have to screw this thing in and then check it with the gauge to make sure it's the head spacing is correct, and then tighten it down with all the nuts in the handguard to make sure it's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah,
Okay, that's interesting. I hope they release a little more information on maybe if that is supposed to do. I didn't read this article because I didn't see it beforehand, but I wonder if that's supposed to do something, or if it has to be like that thermal bushing that you mentioned to function. Like, I'm just kind of curious on whether or not you could put that might just be an additional benefit to the Samson rather than a necessary requirement for the Ruger. I guess it's kind of speculation right now.
Right.
Yeah, they got a really good picture in there, like Ryan was saying in that article. And their spline thermal bushing looks like it goes over like a standard AR-15 receiver nut. So I'm wondering if that's the part that threads off, because then it has a separate barrel nut that you tighten down. You screw the barrel in like a standard barrel, and then you set the headspace, and then I would assume you tighten the barrel nut. And then it has like another like barrel nut would be
like a faux barrel nut kind of thing
Yeah,
going on.
and that's where your handguard attaches. But of course they don't show a picture of if there's threads underneath that, just like your standard AR or something like that. But that would kind of be my assumption, and that's why most of them would fit.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. So maybe they have their own barrel nut, and then the only reason an AR barrel nut is needed is just to attach whatever rail system. Is that kind of what you're thinking?
Yeah,
Hopefully.
that's what it looks like.
That would be really cool, because then you could do basically anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the barrels that it does, it is available with. Let's see, it's got there's a 308 that's 20-inch barrel, and it's a 1 in 10 twist. And they've got a 6.5 Creedmoor that's a 24-inch barrel with a 1 in 8 twist. And they have a 243 Winchester, which is 26 inches, and a 1 and 7.7 twist. So obviously the different barrels are going to affect the different weights. Obviously the 308 being the shorter barrel seems to be a little bit lighter than all the other models, so it comes in at 9.7 pounds. The Creedmoor comes in at 10.6 pounds, and the 243 Winchester comes in at 11 pounds.
For what you're getting, none of those are really heavy.
No.
I'm guessing their best sellers are probably going to be the Creedmoor and the 308.
Yeah.
And
now a lot of guys are happy with the twist rate of the 243 because that's actually a little bit faster than what you can typically get in a 700, just buying right off the shelf.
Right.
So that means that you can load the heavier bullets, which are going to have a better BC and work out better for you for shooting groups at longer range. So that's what a lot of people are happy about is, oh, finally something I can get 6mm bullets that are heavier, in the 130, 140 range, and should be able to shoot it at this thing and have them stabilize with that twist rate.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think they really did, kind of going back to what you said about the modularity of it, they kind of took it to basically the extreme. There's usually, you get a stock system that you can swap the stock out with an AR, or you can just little pieces, but this is basically all AR furniture will go on this. Like you said, the stock, handguard, and the grip, and that's pretty awesome. And rather than doing like some people might do and just throwing a standard stock on there and letting you get one later for the same, that what was it, $13.99, they already include a really good-looking stock. Like it's got all the minute adjustability that you'd expect from some of these precision rifles. So the cheek riser, the length of pull, and then it folds, for compactness, I guess, of storage. So that's pretty cool. The 308 folded with its 20-inch barrel is only 30 inches long, 30.6 inches folded. So that's a really compact package.
I'm hoping that thing locks up super tight, which I'm guessing they probably designed it to.
Yeah, there's
after you shoot it a while, is it going to loosen up just a hair?
I think I saw something in one of their videos that mentioned there's some kind of adjustability to it. So if you, if for whatever reason it's too loose for you or something like that. Not entirely sure, but I seem to remember that.
Yeah.
But I think about the stock is, not that it really says this, but it does have a Picatinny rail on the bottom adjustable piece. So, you can mount one of the little monopods or whatever you want back there too. Which, it's a nice looking stock for what it is.
Yeah, actually, the stock has a lever that locks open and closed on it. You can actually lock it open and lock it closed using the lever, so it's going to stay tight because it locks in place, actually.
Oh, that's cool.
Cool. Hey, Jack, can I get you to speak up a little bit or reposition your microphone a little bit closer to your face?
Yeah, is that better?
I want to hear that silky smooth voice of yours a little bit louder.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Now, one thing I'm curious, that stock, they're calling it out specifically. They're calling it the Ruger Precision MSR stock. So I'm assuming at some point they're going to be selling that separately. I think they'd be kind of silly not to, being that, they took the time to develop it. And that stock, I don't know a whole lot about, all these super precision rigs and stuff like that, but I imagine that stock's probably a good $300-400 worth of stock on this, so that just makes the value of it even better.
What's a Magpul? What are those?
It's like 260. It's over 250. I know that.
Right.
I think it might be like up to 280, almost 300.
Yeah. So I would say it's comparable to one of those. Maybe a few different features. It looks a little different, but they'd be smart to put it on one of their higher end piston ARs too.
Yeah, we'll probably see it on a SR 308 or whatever they call their 308 rifle.
Exactly.
But one thing I do like, one of the things they mentioned was when you fold the stock and open the bolt, there's a little, I forget what they call it, like a bolt sleeve or something along those lines. And it's basically just this piece that attaches to the back of the bolt, and it holds a couple tools in there for you, which is your trigger adjustment tool, and I think the takedown tool are all housed inside the gun. So it's not like it's just slapped on the outside for it to get knocked off. To access it, you fold the stock, you pull the bolt out, and then it's right there, and you detach it, and then you have I think they made the trigger adjustment screw the same as most scope turret adjustments. So you have your Allen key in there that you can adjust your trigger, you can adjust your scope zeros and all that stuff like that. So it's pretty cool that they went as far to integrate that, because that little bitty pinhead size Allen wrench that you're guaranteed to lose in the bottom of your range bag. Nope, it's inside the gun. You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Also,
while you're at it, I was going to say, since you mentioned it's to adjust the trigger, it says you can adjust it from a weight range of 2 1/4 pounds to 5 pounds. I guess,
nice.
2 1/4 for a, accurate rifle. I've never had any trouble with 2-pound triggers. They get a little lighter for me, and they're a little touchy. So, but I don't like 5-pound triggers either, unless it's a handgun.
Yeah. That is not an AR-15 trigger, so you're not going to be able to drop your Geisley trigger in there from your AR-15. It is a Ruger's trigger. However, it's a
Ruger American. If we didn't mention that, it's based off the American. So any trigger that's available for the American, I would assume, fits in here.
If it has the same kind of sear housing and all that. It looks a lot like a Savage trigger. If you're familiar with the AccuTrigger, it's got a little safety in between there, which kind of helps it if you have it tuned down so far. That's just an extra little safety feature, just to make sure that it doesn't accidentally get bumped and goes off. But the other nice thing, speaking of tools, is that it does come with an oversized bolt handle, and of course that is threaded onto the bolt. So if you wanted to replace that with a Badger Ordnance or some other kind of tactical bolt knob, you could easily just unscrew it and put a new one on. But the bolt knob that comes with this is actually got almost like a socket on the inside of it that you can put a bit in it and use the whole bolt itself as basically a wrench to tighten down your scope rings.
Yeah, that's awesome. I didn't even see that feature.
Yeah, that they show it in the scout.com on that link I have. The guys at Sniper's High, they actually have a little video on it. And it's at the very end of the video they kind of briefly show that how in action. So if you forget your tools at home, which if you are a precision range shooter, chances are you're going to have your stuff together and you're not going to forget your tools. But if you do, it looks like you'll be able to easily do it that way.
Nice. So you keep a small set of bits in your bag, and you've got a tool right there.
Yep.
Another thing that I read about, which, I saw in the Ruger video itself, was there's actually cant. You can actually cant the buttstock itself, I think up to 9 degrees. Pretty much like you can can shotguns or some things for a better fit. So I thought that was pretty cool. That's a lot of precision built into a buttstock. And for the price that this rifle is, that's a lot of gun you get.
Yeah. They're definitely throwing in a ton of features. One thing I didn't mention when we talked about the adjustable trigger, you can do that without disassembling the gun at all. I believe from what they said, you don't have to take the stock off.
Yeah, you just eject the magazine, and you can take that adjustment wrench and just right through the magazine well. You can access the adjustment screw. You still there, TJ?
I don't know. He looked like he froze up to me, but he might be there now.
Okay, he'll come back. I have faith in him. So this thing has a 3-lug bolt with a 70-degree throw, which kind of makes the degree nice and easy. It's got dual locking cams and a smooth running full diameter bolt body. So that 3-lug design is what it helps to feed from all of those magazines. Because that third lug hanging from the bottom, catches the round and strips it from all those the PMags and all those different magazines. So that's really like what makes this thing nice. I wish, more guns came with that option, because feeding from a magazine, especially in competition, is awesome. That's going to be like the biggest thing that most people want this thing for.
I think what's even better than feeding from a magazine for competition is feeding from a $20 magazine versus an $80 to $120 magazine.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I think you're right there.
Yeah, I think they probably wanted this, for most precision. These people are already used to these AICS magazines, but for the people like me, I'm not going to buy a chassis that takes AICS magazines because I don't want to spend $80 for a 5-round magazine, where I could go and spend $20 on a 20-round Magpul magazine. It just makes more sense to me to give you that modularity. You reel your market, you expand your market a little better, I suppose. So it was a good decision on Ruger.
Yeah. Now, a lot of guys, if they're shooting long range and they've seated their bullets out past the SAMI spec, because the rifle's chamber can handle it, so they measure out to lands, and oftentimes that's actually the bullet's too long to fit in the magazine anymore. So I'm not sure. I haven't done 6.8. I haven't gotten into that beast yet, but I'm assuming that you can just single feed, like any other bolt action if you wanted to.
Right. Now,
Go ahead.
The safety is kind of a cool feature because a lot of the American it's based on. I don't remember where the American safety is located, but I know on a lot of these hunting type rifles, and being the American came from a hunting type rifle, I suppose. They usually kind of have that tang safety or some kind of crossbow. But what they did on here is they said, well, we've got an AR grip and we've got the ergonomics of an AR. Let's just keep the AR safety. So right there, right above your pistol grip, you've got your intuitive thumb safety right where the AR would be, except that rather than doing a full 90-degree sweep, it's only a 45. So you have your safe, and then it's a 45-degree sweep rather than having to go a full 90. So that's pretty cool.
Yep, that's actually really nice that they thought about doing that. Because most guys that shoot precision, I mean, you don't hold on to the pistol grip and squeeze the trigger because you're imparting a force on the gun that isn't necessary for stabilization. I mean, you got it in your shoulder, you're probably going to have your fingers like floating in front of the grip or barely touching it. So, it's nice that it has that grip for, getting on target, if you're shooting at varmints or hunting or whatnot. But, most guys don't shoot precision rifles with using that grip like you would like you're shooting an AR-15.
Okay. So let's see. One thing I just remembered, they kind of mentioned here. Let me see what they call it. They sculpted, I guess, the magwell has been contoured for positive grip or bracing against shooting support. So it's kind of got this like a reverse curve, I guess you could say, to where you could, if you're shooting off of a barricade or something like that, you could put the magwell and it kind of hooks in, against a wall or a barricade or a barrel or whatever if you're shooting off of, kind of unconventional positions.
Yeah, kind of like a grip stop.
Yeah.
AR-15. Yeah, that's kind of nice. Or it's kind of like you said, hooked. So if you need to grab it and pull it back into your shoulder, if you only have an offhand shot.
Yeah, because I think they're marketing this towards the high-end competition long-range shooters, but at the same time it's inexpensive enough to be just a kind of weekend Joe Dirt kind of just I'm gonna go shoot long range, but not like formal competition kind of stuff. Like just it's got a two-tier kind of market to it. It's a inexpensive long range, but it's also kind of in the plinker, I guess you could say, price range. Like I could see myself buying this for a reasonable price versus going plopping down $6,000 on some kind of crazy expensive stuff that I wouldn't be able to fully utilize. So it's kind of, it could be like you could use this in one of the more tactical, I guess you could say, tactical long range versus the lay down on a bench and shoot 1,000 yards.
Yeah, I'm thinking they, like you said, for the precision rifle matches, even like local ones where it may not be super competitive, but shoot this thing and you can afford one for the most part. I would actually use it to shoot varmints with. Shoot varmints way out there because, well, it's fun.
I think this rifle actually opened up the long-range shooting market and different things to a lot of people because the price doesn't break you. The options are just don't stop. They go on forever. I mean, this is a great first rifle to get you into all that thing, and actually it might just be one to keep you in it because it has so many features and you can swap the barrels out. So why buy anything else? You have it. You're set with this.
Yep.
Right, that's kind of what I'm thinking about because, like Tony said, the features don't stop. I'm just sitting here, all I'm doing is looking at the picture and I'm remembering seeing things. It's like, oh yeah, it's got that, and oh yeah, it's got that, and it's got this.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at the stock, and it has these kind of flip tabs, I guess you could say. I'm not entirely sure what they're called. It's like a built-in tool for adjusting the cheek riser height and the stock, so you don't have to worry about, again, losing that tool. You just flip this tab and then unscrew. Like you flip the tab up and you loosen it, and then you tighten it back down, and it clamps it down.
Yeah, it's like a cam lock.
Yeah, there you go. And then another feature, which I really like, because I really don't know why people, like, why aren't there more threaded barreled rifles out there. This rifle comes from the factory, all 3 configurations with a threaded barrel. So you can put a brake, you can put a can on it, and you don't have to pay extra to do that, which I don't understand. It just doesn't seem like too big of a procedure to have to do that to where more.
It costs usually upwards to $100 to have a gunsmith do it for you, right? So it's,
Right. That's what I'm saying, but for a factory
$100.
setting, it seems like it wouldn't add a whole ton of cost for them to do it more often.
Right. Ruger wants you to have ammo money, so they did that for you. And that's 5/8 by 24, so if you got a 30 cal can or any of your muzzle brakes in that thread pitch, you're good to go. One other thing that I thought's really good to mention is that it's got a 20 MOA Picatinny rail that comes with it, and it's attached by 4 number 840 screws. Every time someone's building a precision rifle that's meant for long range, they get a 20 MOA rail put on there because it basically saves you by having 20 extra minutes of adjustment in your elevation on your scope. So instead of, cranking the dope all the way to the max until your turret bottoms out and then having to stack or kind of hover over the target, use some Kentucky elevation, I guess you'd call it, it saves you 20 minutes of angle. So you look at your top of your scope, and if it's got, I don't know, however many, 60 minutes of angle total, if you have a 20 MOA rail and you zero in your scope while it's attached to that rail, basically you just saved yourself an extra 20 when you're trying to dial in for longer ranges. So that's going to help you get to 1,000 yards or 1,200 yards or 1,600 yards, depending on what your cartridge is doing and how fast that bullet's going.
Yeah, another
honestly for 1,600 yards, but
well, I'll get you started with the 20 rail, huh?
Right. Yeah, but it also says if in one of the articles that you have posted, it says that they will be offering a standard rail for people with that preference. I don't know why you would want it, but they're going to offer it just so that people can get it if they want it.
Yeah, one thing is honestly the first thing they mentioned in the video, but we haven't mentioned it here yet, is the inline recoil path. It's engineered to where all the recoil goes straight back into the buffer tube and the stock versus some of the other chassis where it transfers into different parts of the chassis and then up to the stock. It goes directly into the stock and into your shoulder versus putting weird amounts of tension on weird parts and stuff like that. So it's just a better, it says providing maximum accuracy potential. I guess it just kind of redirecting the recoil makes it a little more sturdy, I guess you could say.
Yeah, the only real problem I see with that is it makes the scope have to be mounted higher, which if you're shooting long range, none of that stuff's really going to bother you any. I mean, it's when you're shooting closer that, the scope being up 2.5 inches over the center line of the bore is where it's going to matter. But
right.
Any of your popular AR mounting scope rings, etc., will probably work on this thing just great.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
So in essence, this thing is pretty much a bolt-action AR-10.
Pretty much.
I mean, just almost everything you can put on it is that. It's pretty cool. I've been online. What I've been doing right now is searching because I know Savage makes something like this, and I wanted to know what the price was on it. Savage makes the Savage version of this is nowhere near as many features. It's not near as modular, and it doesn't use the AR parts, and it's twice as much.
And it probably doesn't have a magazine.
It has a magazine.
Oh.
But I'm just saying, and I have no idea which magazine it uses, but pretty much this is a win. And also because Ruger has their, what do they call it, the Ruger trigger? The Ruger adjustable trigger, which is the AccuTrigger from Savage. So pretty much it just dogs Savage out. And the Savage is only available in 308. So
I think
this is a great deal.
For a while, it seems the Savage was kind of the starter. It had a little more features than some of the Remingtons and stuff like that. So it always seemed like people favored toward the Savage. But now with this Ruger, honestly can't imagine this thing's gonna do well.
Yeah.
Very well.
Now, the upper receiver and the bolt are both precision CNC'd machined out of pre-hardened 4140 chrome moly steel. So it's not pot metal, in case you guys were wondering. Obviously not. Yeah, I mean the barrels too are really nice. Everyone knows if you know anything about precision competition and then just that whole like different beast is that the barrel is really where it shines. You need to have a nice rifle, nice stock, nice sights, nice optics. But if you don't have a good barrel, if you cheap that on your barrel, you're gonna have a bad time. So Ruger's actually got a cold hammer forged 4140 chrome moly steel barrel that's got 5R rifling. 5R rifling is arguably superior to standard rifling just because instead of having like really sharp like pointed edges in the rifling of the lands, that they're actually a little bit more rounded. So you've got less you've got less like tearing into the distorting the bullet what's the name of the jacket? Less distortion on the jacket, so you're going to have a overall cleaner barrel because it's not ripping copper from the jacket as much. And some people even say even a little bit faster velocities because you've got less resistance on the rifling and parting on the jacket. So everyone likes 5R rifling. I don't know if you're arguing against 5R rifling, you're probably maybe a little bit older, a little bit more opinionated, and you're probably set in your ways. But that's definitely, they did not cheap out on the bore and the barrel, so that's great. I mean it's got kind of a heavier profile, I would say. They're not like pencil barrels. So as far as shooting these a little bit more rapidly, it looks like the weight of the barrel is going to help with not heating up too much. It's not like a straight up bull barrel. I'd call this a varmint contour. And I know a lot of guys that actually want to do this as a like short barreled like a 16-inch build because the fact that it folds up, they're like, oh man, this is going to be my new truck gun. So, I mean, you're going to see a lot of people wanting to not go Bubba on this, but really get creative with their, if they have a specific role they want it to fill, they want an even shorter barrel, and they want to have it suppressed with the suppressor inside the handguard, like an AR-15, it's going to be like that.
Yeah, it opens up a ton of different customizability without having to break the bank. So I could definitely see, like you said, chopping 4 inches off the barrel because it's 30 inches folded with a 20-inch barrel. So that means it would be 26 inches. That's incredibly compact to like you said, throw in a truck or just have around.
Yep. I mean, we've already we're almost 50 minutes, or I'd probably like 45 minutes talking about this one rifle. And of course, it's got Ruger's brand all over it. They've got a nice Ruger Phoenix kind of engraved into the magwell. They've got the Ruger logo in the plastic or the polymer in the buttstock. It's definitely got Ruger written all over it.
It's good. They should be proud of it.
Yeah, I would. I would say that I'm not interested in getting this for 308 because I'm pretty happy with my investment in 308 as it is personally. I'm not quite financially or just free time able to get into another chambering. So 6.5 Creedmoor, I don't even have my reloading bench set up since I moved. But if you wanted to get into 6.5 or even just 243, or if you don't have a 308 yet, this would be amazing to get. If you really want to shoot longer ranges, 308 you'd hit 1,000 yards, or 1,000 yards no problem. As long as you do your work, this isn't like a magical gun that's gonna hit the target for you. But it makes it certainly easier with the components they have on there. You've still got to do your homework and know your scope adjustments and all your dope and all that. But yeah, for 243 is an awesome caliber. A lot of people shoot varmints with those at long distance because it's pretty flat.
So Ryan, let's kind of call this like a beginner level for somebody that that might not own, like you already said, you've already got a good setup for your your long range, you got a 308 and all that stuff. Would you recommend this for somebody starting at zero?
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is an absolute entry level. In fact, it's making me kick myself for having bought a Remington 700 AACSD for about $700, even though I love it, and then paying another $350 for a Bell & Carlson stock. So then I'm already up to, say, we'll just say it was, 75 plus 35. We're already up to 1100 right there. And then, having the bottom metal, having it inletted, getting the bottom metal, which was another $180, plus the magazines. The AICS magazines are about $80, $90 a pop. So I'm already past the point of this rifle, easy. And this has more features than mine still has. I wish mine could take the P-mags and the other mags. It does not. I wish that it had an adjustable stock, but those stocks would have been way more money. And ultimately, the barrel is a better quality than what comes on most Remington 700s from the factory, unless you specifically buy a Sendero that's 5R barrel, and those are going to be way over $1,400 anyway. So you kind of get the point, is that this is a great entry-level rifle for the price. I'm waiting to see more reviews on it. Luckily, this has kind of been in the works for a couple years, and there's already video reviews on YouTube of this rifle today. So if you want to see it in action, you can literally look it up right now. That's great. Yeah. There's no waiting period. We don't have to, have all these unanswered questions and hypotheticals going on.
Yeah. I imagine Ruger probably sent these out a while back and just said, get all your stuff together, we'll work all the kinks out, and then once everything's good, post your reviews on this day. I imagine there were some very heavy NDAs going on. Some non-disclosures.
That would be my guess too. I was gonna say one thing to go along with Ryan saying it would be an excellent beginner entry level platform. If it were me recommending it to somebody entry level, I'd probably recommend the 308 just for caliber reasons, because if you're just beginning, okay, but you're probably going to have a hard time finding 6.5 Creedmoor. You probably aren't going to reload for it. So with the 308, you can, or even the 243, you can find all the ammo, good ammo, that you would need to shoot these distances.
Yep.
I was putting it together in my mind. I have Axis, Savage Axis in 30-06, but I wanted to get something in 308. I was talking to my friend. We were going to build an AR. I think I might just save my little pennies and shove them in a jar and have my 308 be this. I mean, it has so many features. I'm not going to run and gun with a friggin' 308. I mean, hell, let's just build my AR. But I mean, for a longer range, to build my way up, entry level, this is buy once, cry once if I've ever seen it.
Yeah. Yep.
And at a great price. What do you think? This will get down to maybe $1,000, $1,100?
I could definitely foresee, come Christmas, Ruger's really good at Christmas sales. These things are going to be probably sub $1,000 for the once a year kind of Christmas Black Friday stuff.
$9.99.
Calling it right now.
That's right.
Maybe not this Christmas, but
I actually took some of the readings. Someone who received this from Sniper's Hide did the range test, and they had 6.5 Creedmoor. They were using factory 6.5 Creedmoor, the Hornady 140 grained AMAX ammo, and they were getting a average velocity of 2,810 feet per second. So I went ahead and I plugged that into my ballistics calculator with all the goodies, and so that round is hitting the transonic wall at around 1,450 yards.
Nice.
So, that's when it drops from, let's say, at 1,400 yards, it looks to be about 1,117 feet per second, and then it drops to 1,088 feet per second at 1,450. So, I don't know enough. Of course, you never know enough. But if the rounds are still like 100% stable at that point, they've only got an extra 150 yards to go to get to that 1,600 marketing claim. But I bet they're getting there. Maybe there's some minor keyholing depending on what ammo you're using. But that's still a pretty dang good thing. I mean, that beats the pants out of 308. But if you're never going to shoot past 1,000 yards or 1,200 yards, and you want the ease in getting a 30 cal, go with the 308. If you want to, hunt and have a flatter shooting round that you can be confident up to like just under a mile, 6.5 Creedmoor is still amazing. And even shooting matches like 100-yard, 200-yard matches, people are still shooting the 6mm and the 6.5 because it just groups better, But I mean, there's some pretty nice groups from 308 still out there, but a lot of people aren't going to be impressed if you show up to like an F-class match and you've got a 308. But you can do that and be like, oh, well, just give me a second, get out your barrel wrench, swap out the barrels, get your headspace gauges out, and you can be totally set to go.
There you go. I wonder if Ruger's going to offer the replacement barrels for
Yeah, I have a feeling
situation.
that they definitely will.
Because, like,
soon.
Like you're talking about, you could just, if somebody did want that 16-inch barrel, but they didn't want to, I guess, completely jump into it dedicated, they could buy a replacement barrel, chop it down, have it threaded and all that stuff, and if they do want to go to a competition and not show up with a 16-inch barrel, because that'd be kind of silly, they could do that, just swap it out.
Yep. So go ahead and check all the links that we got in the show notes for that. I made sure that there was plenty there for you guys, so that'll be your evening reading for tonight, probably the next few weeks, until your wife tells you you can get one.
One last note. Ruger says, makes a point, optics not included.
Yeah, obviously. But the great thing about this is that you can get good optics and still be well under $2,000.
Oh yeah.
Like that's awesome. Good rings, good optics. Be under $2,000. I mean, there's no other precision rifle on the market that can do that. So next up, I think we're almost at an hour talking about that. We're gonna get into some new ammunition that you could potentially use in this Ruger precision rifle. This is from Nosler, but it's Noveske ammo. So what it is Noveske, John Noveske has always dreamed of creating a line of quality ammunition tuned for his rifles. Everyone knows that Noveske rifles are like, of the higher end. So Nosler kind of partnered with them, created a line of ammunition so good that it squeezes every bit of performance out of a rifle, while also providing terminal ballistics downrange. So basically they have a couple different calibers. They got 223, they got 300 blackout, and they have 308 or 7.62 by 51. The interesting thing is that they've got ballistic tips that glow in the dark on these things. Oh, and also the fact that the brass is black and the bullets are black. This is like a completely black bullet, the case and everything. I mean,
makes it more deadly.
It makes it's definitely kind of a marketing thing. I mean, you could argue that finish, that treatment to the cases, kind of has a natural loop. It's a black nickel plating. So it's they call it stealthy smooth cycling, so it adds some kind of dry lubricity or lubrosity to it.
I think that stealthy smooth was kind of a little tongue-in-cheek, but it's a good marketing term.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen guys that are dyeing their blackout brass black just so it's easier to find on the range, because it looks eerily similar to all that rusty 7.62 by 39 that's on the ground. And especially if you're shooting suppressed and your brass is getting dirty, it makes it kind of difficult. So the black makes it easier to find, but the glowing tips, I mean, there's marketing. That's why they did that. But also they're saying that people that are in professional, military or special secret operations were having trouble kind of seeing their magazines in the dark. Obviously, you don't want your magazine glowing bright because it kind of illuminates you. But the glowing tips kind of help you know, okay, bullets are facing the right direction, or you're reaching into your go bag and you can see the glowing tip and it helps you. I don't know if that's. I mean, the only person here with combat experience, I don't know how much Chad has, but I'll go ahead and ask Tony Simon. Glowing tips, man, is that a game changer?
Zombie Max what? That's all I saw when I saw this. I'm like, oh, okay. Now Nosler's selling Zombie Max ammo and they calling it Noveski. This is
Hey.
nothing but marketing. I'm sorry. $45 a box? No. 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 You can buy Nosler match grade ammo for half the price. You're bringing nothing but marketing to the table with your silky, smooth, silent. What was it?
Stealthily smooth.
Yeah, stealthily smooth cycling. Stop with the silliness. If you want to buy it, buy it. It looks really pretty. It has a great paint job. Glow-in-the-dark ammo, seriously. If you're in the military, you use night vision goggles anyway. I know which way my bullets are pointing because it's the pointy end of the effing bullet.
And the magazine will only go in one way.
Yeah. So please, I don't know what special force. Must be the Helen Keller division of the special forces that they can't see anything and they have to feel around. I'm just saying,
man.
this is nothing but marketing. Go ahead and buy it.
Black
It's
ammo matters.
All black ammo matters. This
right.
reminded me of Zombie Max, or even who came out with that ammo? The 22 long rifle ammo built especially for AR tactical rifles.
I think CCI's got some. I think everyone's got that. CMMG, CCI, they've got tactical 22 long rifle.
Tactical 22. Yeah, go ahead. A fool and his money are quickly separated in this market.
Hey,
Okay.
at least not all of it is glow-in-the-dark bullet
Yeah,
tips.
so that's the thing is you can get this stuff with just regular FB tipped. So, I mean, the bullets, kind of a Varmageddon bullet. So you like 5.56, you got a 55 grain Varmageddon bullet. It's got that black plating on there. Or you can get the ballistic tip that just happens to glow in the dark. That's 60 grains. Then when we get down to the 300 blackout, you can get the just regular, FB tipped Armageddon bullet. It's 110 grain, and then that's going to be. Oh, and then they got the 220 grain, which is a ballistic round nose tip, which is I've never seen a ballistic tip on a round nose bullet. That's really weird.
Yeah,
It's
like
almost
a clown.
like a round nose. What do you call it? A round lead nose or something like that.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's going to be your heavier bullet for subsonics. And then your 308s, they have a 110 grain Varmageddon bullet, and then they have a 168 grain ballistic tip bullet. So the prices for those, I've got them all in the show notes. If you just want the 5.56 that does not glow, it's $28.95. Looks like I forgot to put the price of the glowy ammo, but it's obviously going to be a little bit more expensive than that. The 300 blackout, the tipped is $42.95, and the glowing, the glowing subsonic round nose is $42.95. The regular tipped 110 grain is cheaper, and for the 7.62x51, the glowing tip is $42.95, and once again, the non-glowing tip, heavier lighter 110 grain is $36.95. So, I mean, that's not like, I mean, if they were selling that in boxes of 100, I'd totally be all over it. I'd be just buying pallets of this stuff because it's cool, and those aren't bad prices if they're boxes of 100 projectiles. Since they're boxes of 20 loaded bullets, that's really a luxury. That'd be more of a barbecue ammo. Like, hey man, did you check out into my new rifle? You think that's cool? Check out this box of ammo I spent $43 on.
Maybe I can get him to send me some because I'm like halfway in between Nosler and Noveski.
Well, I mean, Nosler makes good stuff, but obviously we've seen this before. We're not fools. We know that you slap an expensive name on something, you can sell Nike flip-flops for $60. It doesn't change the fact that they're flip-flops, and they're made probably in a factory right next to the Walmart flip-flop factory. So I'm not putting down Nosler because I'm sure this is great ammunition, but it just seems like you're paying an extra premium for that black plating and that option to have that glowing tip, which it's not going to be a tracer. You're not going to see it. I don't know. It's not unless you're shooting that subsonic 300 blackout. I doubt the animal or the hog or the deer that you're shooting at is really going to see that glowing tip anyway. They're not going to be around to tell you very much or very long anyway. Yeah, it's up to you guys.
I think it's kind of it's cool enough for maybe a couple people to buy a box just to kind of have, just like, hey, some cool ammo. I'm gonna buy some for my, pile of ammo, just obscure ammo. But just unless it offers some kind of crazy benefits we didn't hit on here, I don't foresee it
No, because
doing much.
they're just standard Nosler bullets. I mean,
Yeah, it's just Nosler. It's just Nosler ammo, dyed black or plated black and with.
I was talking to a friend of mine. I was talking to a friend of mine who was talking to the guy at Cabela's, and he said what happened with the Zombie Max is a lot of people weren't willing to pay that money for Zombie Max ammo, so they just steal one bullet out of the box at the store. So these guys would have to go through and just pull the boxes because it was missing rounds. People just go in and snatch a round, stick it in their pocket, and walk out.
Nice.
So they have 18-round, 15-round boxes of Zombie Max they take off the shelf and put in the back, and pretty much the employees could buy it at cost and take them home.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
this guy had cases of Zombie Max ammo that was missing rounds, and it's the same thing as anything else.
Except the Zombie Max is the same exact. Well, I'm pretty sure it's the same
VMAX.
price as the VMAX. It's just got a green tip, and it's a different piece of cardboard, basically. So it's the same. It's the same price as the VMAX you were already buying, but this stuff is not.
Yeah. Well, at least it's got a little bit more class. I mean, they're not like calling it tactical, ammunition or anything like too tongue-in-cheek.
not like stealthy smooth.
Well, it's not like blazing. I mean, they could have gone the Hornady route and said these are uranium-tipped like drone ammunition, Yeah, and then
Then I would get it.
like asterisk at the bottom does not contain uranium. But it's kind of like Nosler's got black coated bullets already. I forget they call them the silver tips. It's basically a bullet that's got that black plating and it's got a gray or silver plastic tip on the end.
Yeah, and
those are
Winchester, I think, for them.
Yeah, I mean they look nice, especially if you've got nickel plated brass anyway. Like you've got that nice contrast. So aesthetically it looks nice, but I don't know if I don't think I'd ever buy these at that price. It's just not affordable to me. I'd be interested to know, okay, if someone buys a box of 20 and just shoots them, reloads them, shoots them, reloads them, see just how much life they're getting out of that brass and see if that black nickel plating, see how it reacts after several shootings.
Now, I've actually heard the nickel cases don't wear as well as brass cases, too. I'm not sure how accurate that is, but just a side note. Do you have any experience with that, Ryan?
All of my subsonic 308 is loaded with nickel brass just so I can visually tell the difference between the two. So I haven't used it that much. I have reloaded a couple cases, and I have noticed at the case mouth that the plating is kind of coming off a little bit, and I don't know whether that's because of just it being shot or whether I had trimmed them down and then did the whole chamfering and deburring process, whether that wore some of that plating off.
Okay. Well, the issue I was, this is just kind of years old information just kind of coming to the surface in my head, so I don't remember where I even heard it, but just kind of saying maybe it's weaker, get your split shoulders and stuff like that sooner, not like it's going to blow apart after one reload, but it just happens sooner than brass. That's just kind of where I was getting that from.
I'm not sure about that.
Okay.
So anyway, I just want to, let's try and speed it up a little bit because we're already past an hour, but I got links in the show notes to all that Nosler stuff if you're interested in checking those out, or just go over to Nosler's website and look up the Noveski ammunition. So the next product I have would work really well on that Ruger precision rifle. This is the Voltor Mod Pod. They call it the MP1, but it's the Voltor Mod Pod. What it is, it's two Picatinny mounted bipod legs. So instead of mounting onto a swivel stud on the bottom or mounted to your Picatinny on the bottom of your rail, these actually mount to Picatinny on the sides of your handguard. And then it's reversible, so they can be pointing, toward the barrel, or closer to your handguard, or they can be at the end of your handguard pointing back at you, and they kind of swivel down either way. It's got 3 adjustments that are pretty quiet. They're just kind of, it's got a polymer body with, obviously a metal bipod leg, and then it's just got silent push buttons with 3 different positions for adjusting the length of each leg. So you lose the speed of deployment versus like a Harris-style bipod, but you do get the cool factor of, it goes alongside the handguard, and I can have you can put anything below it. If you've got like a M203 grenade launcher that you want to really put on your rifle and still have a bipod, you could snipe people with 40mm grenades. Or if you're a civilian and you've got a Havoc flare launcher and you want to snipe people with 37mm flares, you could do that too, I guess.
You could put one of those USFA Zip 22s down there.
You can do a lot of things on that bottom rail. It's a game changer. The legs rotate 360 degrees, locking every 90 degrees, so that gives you really that variability. The only thing I can think of is that if you had an AR and you wanted to run a full-size 30-round or 40-round PMAG, or even a Surefire 60-round or 100-round magazine, shooting from a bench with a bipod, your barrel is going to be pointing almost straight toward the ground because of the length of that magazine. So if you have the bipod legs all the way at the end, it kind of your magazine is going to be hitting your bench. If you move those bipod legs actually closer to you on the handguard, that actually gives you a little bit more lift of the whole rifle, and you can kind of give more clearance for your magazine. But that being said, if you have more class and you're building a precision rifle and you don't have a big old 30-round magazine hanging down, then you could certainly make use of these, and it would be pretty cool.
Yeah, these are pretty neat. Just kind of, like you said, free up that bottom rail, or, because a lot of times if you're shooting off of a bench, you're not going to have a bottom rail anyway. So if you have these on here, you kind of, I guess gives you a little more freedom to go from bench shooting to bipod without having to kind of interfere with each other, I suppose you could say.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of neat to see these in M-Lock and the other one, Keymod.
Well, you just get the rail sections and then just mount these to them, I guess.
Yeah, could. Then you're adding cost in bulk, but I guess as an entry. I mean, they call it the MP1. I'm sure they'll have an MP2 and an MP3 that are, M-Lock and Keymod, so it just takes a minute. But yeah, they're pretty neat. The lengths, I don't think we mentioned the lengths. There are collapsed, it's 8.43 inches, and fully extended is 10.9 inches with one length in the middle because it's got 3 adjustment spots. So basically 8.5 to 11-inch lengths.
Yep. And it's got metal components, or stainless steel and aircraft aluminum, and it mounts to any weapon that has a 3 o'clock and a 9 o'clock position Picatinny rail. So it actually, if you mount it, if you have these positioned, not upside down technically, the bipod legs actually are like kind of almost above the bore as far as where the legs pivot into this mount. So I think that it would actually afford you a little bit different recoil impulse, being that you don't have an adapter with a swivel mount and your bipod, your Harris style that's down below. Every time you shoot, I think your rifle has a tendency to want to cant after that recoil impulse. I think having this is a little bit more solid, because I've seen this design on like actual bigger caliber rifles, like 50 cal, and it seems to be more practical for kind of shooting and keeping a line of sight on your target without having your scope jump way up in the air.
Yeah, it's kind of I guess integral is kind of what it.
Yep.
It's like integral meets bolt-on, I guess. If that makes sense.
It comes in flat dark earth, tan, or black, and both of those, the MSRP is going to be $189.95, so about $190. I do have in the show notes a link to Brownells. They do have it for $180.99, so save you almost $10 there. by shopping Brownells, and then we get some affiliate love from you, so we appreciate that. So, next, go ahead.
No, I was looking at this and I was trying to find reviews on it. I think it's pretty cool, I guess. I've never got with a bipod. I was one of those jerks that had an M203 grenade launcher on my M16 A2.
Was that the end of your sentence?
Tony just wanted us to know that he's a jerk. Got it.
Okay, got it. Loud and clear.
He froze up and he had an M203 on his M16. Okay, yep.
That'd make me freeze up too.
Yeah. The government
out of sheer joy. So my review this week is a holster from Bravo Concealment. They call it the RTT holster. RTT stands for Range Time Tactical, and that is the name of a tactical training organizational group. They've got a lot of YouTube videos. You might also know them as Erica and Corey. Them being a married couple and doing training videos together. They've done a lot of stuff with the Magpul Dynamics guys. There's kind of some controversy surrounding them, and I'm not even going to touch it with a 10-foot pole because that's not the point of this review. So anyway, Bravo Concealment had produced a holster. They obviously have done some training courses with Range Time Tactical. They like them a lot, and so they've worked out this kind of promotional deal where you can get a holster that is very good, very well suited for a defensive pistol handgun course. I know I said pistol handgun in the same sentence. That's a little redundant. So basically, and they do offer the RTT holster as a combo pack, and that is what I received and what I'm reviewing today. So the RTT holster combo pack comes with the RTT holster, and mine is actually fit for a light-bearing handgun. So I've got my Smith & Wesson M&PC with a Streamlight TLR3. So I was very happy to get an outside-the-waistband holster that allows me to have that light. It does come with 2 magazine pouches. They're also made out of Kydex as well as the holster. So it actually has the option of 2 single mag pouches or 1 double mag pouch, where these would be, one piece of Kydex together. It's nice to have the 2, in my opinion, because you can train with only 1, or you can carry your gun concealed and have just the 1 mag pouch, or both, and you can space them out on your belt, put 1 on your left side, 1 on your right side, however you want to do it. One nice thing is they do have the option to slant cut the magazine pouch as well. So you'll see that this one in my left hand has a slant cut, and the one on my right hand does not have a slant cut. So that's kind of meant for this one to be technically more forward on your belt, so then when you're crouching and bending at the waist, the slant cut kind of alleviates and gives you a little bit more mobility, where your leg or hip would be, technically it'd be your upper leg would be hitting that edge. So they do slant cut the holster as well too, if you wanted that. So they offer this in a combo pack, and they also include these soft belt loops, or soft belt clips. So you can replace the polymer injection molded outside the waistband clips, which I actually like quite a bit. Comes on the holster and the magazine pouches. You can actually take these off using just a regular old screwdriver. Really nice that you don't have to carry around or keep track of your hex or wrenches, your Allen wrenches. You can just use a regular screwdriver, and then replace with the soft belt clip by putting it on the outside of the holster. So it comes with 2 of those. You've got quite a bit of adjustment for ride height if you wanted to, both on the holster, and as I flip this clip around, you'll see there's 3 positions where you can move the clip actually up and down on this little dog leg that's also polymer injected. So it's pretty rigid, pretty strong, but it's got some flexibility to it. So this is kind of a holster that's meant for you to be able to buy as a package and then go into a defensive pistol course and have all your prerequisites down. All you got to do is bring the ammo. So most classes are going to require you to have one or most likely two magazine pouches, and then a nice, sturdy, dependable outside the waistband holster. If it's specifically a CCW or a concealed pistol class, they're obviously, if there's live fire training, they're going to want you to have an inside the waistband holster. So they've included these clips as part of a way for you to convert your outside the waistband holster into an inside the waistband holster. Makes absolute sense in my mind on paper. And actually doing it with this holster, it didn't work all that well for me. And I'm going to try and tell you guys why. It's basically has to do with your body type. I'm a little bit rounder, a little bit more fluffy than most people. And all jokes aside, but I've got a little bit more curve around my hips. Some people might call it a muffin top, and those people, I hate you. But basically, the way this holster is, it's an outside the waistband holster. Imagine taking these belt clips off, replacing them with these, and then shoving them in my pants. It's not comfortable. And the reason for that is just the shape of this holster. It's kind of really optimized for outside the waistband carrying, and it does a great job with that. I love it outside the waistband. However, inside the waistband, the shape of it is not conducive necessarily. You can't really have both in a full 360-degree Kydex shell. There are holsters out there that are fully wrap around the firearm, the front, the sides, and the back, and you can carry them inside the waistband. And in fact, Bravo Concealment does make a more dedicated inside the waistband holster, and they call it the Acer DG2 holster. And it's a lot more comfortable than shoving this in my pants. It's slimmer, it's not as wide. You do have the option for these belt clips, and I will get into why I don't necessarily like these, but they do have basically combining this with these belt clips, and they call them just the inside the waistband belt loops, and they're a lot better. I didn't receive any, but just by looking at them, I could tell that they'd be a lot better than these things. So if you're wanting to get this holster for both inside the waistband and outside the waistband, and you weigh more than 180 pounds, 200 pounds, then I would warn you that it's not comfortable carrying on the 4 o'clock position or around there, that you might already be carrying a dedicated inside the waistband holster like this. Alien Gear cloak is inside the waistband. A lot of inside the waistband holsters follow this design and this basically template. It's really comfortable. It flexes around my hip, so it kind of disperses the weight of the firearm. The clips are kind of set wider apart to help disperse that weight. It's really comfortable on the body. You don't really have those features on a holster of this design, so unless you are like Corey and Erica, where they look to be very fit, very in shape, have a low, body fat index. I don't know if that's the correct term, but they basically have a frame that would look much more comfortable than this holster on my body. So, you can see pictures on their website of it being carried concealed inside the waistband. It does look like a female frame, unless that is Corey, I'm not too sure, but that looks to be like it's fitting on her just fine. I personally didn't like it because it was kind of more of a bulge than I'm used to. It printed a lot more even through my jeans, let alone the shirt. I got this for kind of both, and I find that it's really better suited for just outside the waistband. So if you wanted to conceal it, you just have to wear an over jacket or a shirt with long enough tails really to cover it. The price point of the whole kit caboodle, you're looking at $142.99. Of course, Bravo was able to offer me a 10% off coupon code, and that works with not just this holster, but any order that you place on the website. So if you wanted to look at mag pouches or anything else on their website, 10% off your order using the promo code RTTCombo10. And so that's going to be good for a while, as long as the review's up, which should be indefinitely. So if you're interested in purchasing anything from Bravo Concealment, make sure you use that coupon code at the end to get your discount. So I'll just go through my 8 key points. The claim to fame provides everything needed to attend range time tactical defensive handgun class or any other class. Whether you are a casual shooter or a serious RTT enthusiast, the RTT combo pack will help you purchase everything you need at a discounted price. The target market is CCW carriers outside the waistband or inside the waistband, handgun training classes, or I would even say 3-gun competitors, because it does make for a very nice outside the waistband holster. You can get clips, belt loops that are suited for larger belts. So you can get it for 1.5 inch all the way up to 1 3/4 inch width for belts. Features and benefits: the holster is available with or without a light. So if you have a light that you'd like to have with your light, you just look by the light-bearing holster versus the standard holster. The 2 mag pouches, as like I said before, either the 2 single ones or the 1 double mag pouch. The 2 belt loops that it comes with. It's designed for outside the waistband carry, but easily converted into inside the waistband by switching out the belt loops. It does have cant that you can position, obviously, by just moving the belt loops on either side, up or down, to cant your firearm forward or back. I don't know why anyone would cant theirs back unless you're Jake Challen. Usually you would want to cant your handgun forward. It's got a hand-molded holster for solid retention of the weapon. All the corners have been kind of rounded, so it does have that attention to detail built into. People that I would consider better Kydex holster makers are the ones that make sure that there's no sharp edges, that they really kind of hone everything down. They're not just folding these things, cutting them, and just throwing them out there on the product line. The Kydex is 0.08 thick. It does the whole kit does come with a Bravo concealment Velcro morale patch. Mine didn't, but that's okay. Yours probably will. Another thing is the way that they cut the holster. There's adequate room for drawing your handgun. And that's one of the things that I've got complaints about. They're inside the waistband clips, because obviously as outside the waistband, I've got all this clearance to draw my weapon. It's plenty. The inside the waistband, even when I have this rear clip at its lowest position, you see how it kind of cuts into the clearance there for my finger, and that's right at its lowest. So technically, this would be riding a little bit higher on my belt. I'd have to really position this lower, like down to here, in order to get my clearance back. And then I have the bottom of the clip, this injection molded dog leg, hanging down, so it's not real streamlined. So I mean, you could obviously cut that off, but then you're just kind of MacGyvering your own rig that you've purchased. So, and I like my inside the waistband carrying to be kind of deeper inside the pants. So as I try and adjust it deeper, you can see that it's pretty much blocking my hand from getting in there unless I kind of wedge my hand in between the clip and the firearm grip. So that's kind of my problem with it. How other holsters get around that, obviously, is these clips are set wider out on wings. So that's obviously, kind of a design flaw of trying to do both things with one holster design. Other aesthetic options, you can get it in black, OD green, flat dark earth, or coyote brown. What other people are saying, defensivecarry.com said, I bought the RTT holster to support the Indiana company it was named after. I carry the Glock 19 and love the holster. High quality, thick Kydex. I bought the holster along with a single mag holster. Perfect retention, plus I love the fact that there is a cutout for the index finger so I can get a full grip before drawing. I did have to wait 3 months to get it, but it was worth the time for me. I don't buy a lot of gear, but when I do, I like to have to spend the extra time and money to get the best I can afford. I feel like I made a good decision, and I would not hesitate to purchase again from them. And then Shane's Gear Thread said, I recently picked up the RTT holster from Bravo Concealment, and I wanted to share my thoughts on the holster. Starting with customer service, the fit and finish on Bravo holsters are stellar. I was very impressed with the quality and attention to detail, and that was very evident in the holster I received. It was free of sharp edges and rough spots throughout, not to be disappointed. The function follows fit and finish with everything Bravo makes. The holster was for a Glock 17, and the retention was excellent. My Glock clicked into the holster and stayed in place until I wanted it out. The RTT holster is designed primarily as an outside the waistband holster, and that's how I use it. Given the way the holster curves around the body and the way the belt loops pull the holster close in, the holster conceals quite well. Options are available for inside the waistband use. If you're interested, I've run the Bravo Concealment RTT holster through 2 handgun classes and use it for concealed carry on a daily basis, and I couldn't be happier with how it performs. Having purchased my holster for the Glock 17, I actually got a bonus feature since the holster also works very well for my Glock 19 and 26. So the price point is $142.99, and then, not counting the 10% you can save with the coupon code RTTCombo10, and you can get that from the Bravo Concealment website. Now, everything that I've talked about, kind of the pros and the cons, it's an outstanding outside the waistband holster. There's a lot of people making outside the waistband holsters, so it's kind of difficult to honestly give a number rating when a lot of people are making the product, and it's almost like making pancakes. Everyone knows what a good pancake looks like and tastes like, and you can be really off and be very noticeable, or you can be right in there and it's going to be just fine. So I gave it a 7.5 as good because it is a good holster as it is, and I do appreciate the mag pouches are outstanding quality as well. But the inclusion of the soft clips and the marketing of it being able to fit inside your pants as an inside the waistband holster kind of dinged it a little bit for me. So pros, convertible from outside the waistband to inside the waistband, heavily, like, major disclaimer, just saying, but beware that doesn't always work for everybody. The RTT holster is well made with good solid retention. The hardware are common screw heads instead of hex or Torx, so it's really easy to swap out clips or adjust your cant if you want to. The mag pouches are available as 2 single or 1 double. I thought it was really great that they offered that option. Slant cut is also another great option that they offer just for better mobility. I think everyone should probably go for the slant cut versus their standard, especially if you plan on shooting and moving and shooting from pronated, supine, all that fancy stuff. Another nice thing that I didn't mention is each mag pouch here has a tension screw. Right here, my index finger is pointing to it. This is an additional screw that's more closer to the magazine, and you can actually adjust this screw and it tightens the retention on your mag. So this is great for if you get this thing and you feel like your magazine slips in and out too easily. All you do is you pop your magazine in, and then you just tighten the screw a little bit until you get the retention you want. So instead of having to take a hairdryer and heat the thing up with your magazine in there and then kind of press and conform it to tighten it like you have to do with all sorts of other Kydex holsters, Bravo put this retention screw in here, and it makes it really easy. And these things are not coming out. When I first got them, they were just a little bit loose. They do not come out when I shake them upside down. So that's kind of the way I like it. But when I want to pull them out, they come out very easily. So that's a great feature. Obviously, they can't really do that too much on the holster itself because just all the variances and the whole shape of it's not very symmetrical. But if you wanted to adjust the retention, which obviously the retention on this holster is very good out of the box. It is fairly new, about 2 or 3 weeks old, so it doesn't have a whole. I've been trying to do a lot of drawing practice and kind of break it in a little bit more, but so far it seems pretty good. If you wanted to adjust that, like I said, you just heat it up with an hair dryer or a heat gun and kind of reform it to your gun. See, the mag holsters are also adjustable for cant. So if you had this set up for a Glock and you had 30 round happy mags, happy sticks, and you wanted them to cant forward instead of straight up, you could just adjust one set of these clips. Actually, technically, I guess you can't on this one. You could if you were running them inside the waistband and we're using these style clips where it just had a single point mounted to the gun. And then also something to note that if you're running like a micro red dot on your pistol, like a Trijicon RMR, or one of those other red dots that your slide's been cut and you have on there, it actually won't clear the holster, but actually it'd be right here, it wouldn't clear this spot. But if you let them know, they'll actually make a recess for you so that you could holster this thing with a RMR. So that's kind of nice that they do that too. The injection molded belt loops are really strong and rugged. They're meant for really hard use. They're pretty thick and robust. So if you were to do lots and lots of drills throughout the year, you could be rest assured that these clips won't break on you right out of the get-go. So my cons: the concealed inside the waistband carry is just not comfortable with this style of holster. I don't like these clips. Another negative I have for these soft clips is they're really difficult to operate. I mean, it's easy to get unclicked, but as you're running this soft bit of material underneath your belt and then back up and trying to clip it in with one hand and not looking, it is dang near impossible. I don't know if it's the style of button on here. Obviously, this is the style of button that you can have a screw running through it, so you can obviously have your adjustment there as it's got a hole in the dog leg, and you've got these 3 different holes for positioning. But I cannot seem to get these things buttoned. I swear. I don't know why it's so difficult. Maybe it's because it's not as a rounded button. There, I just did it. But it's not easy when it's on your hip and you're trying to do it with one hand or do it while you're focusing on something else. So that was a big bummer for me. I don't know if there's a trick to it or what, but it was a little bit more difficult than I'd like. And also this tab right up here that goes past the button, you probably would want to trim that, maybe like 1/4 of an inch, because I mean it helps when you're putting your thumb in there to release it so you can pull it out of your pants or your belt rig, but it really doesn't need to be that much. And that tab actually was interfering with my hand a lot of the times when I was carrying it inside the waistband. So that, and the price is still a little bit higher when you compare it to other holster companies that sell mag pouches and inside the waistband holsters or outside the waistband holsters. Granted, those holsters won't have that duality of inside the waistband or outside the waistband, but being that this holster doesn't really excel at inside the waistband, I don't feel that really justifies kind of a higher price. I mean, $143 kind of a lot of money to spend on holster and mag pouches. Granted, they're outstanding mag pouches. Maybe I'm just used to cheaper stuff, but I feel like the price could be a little bit lower, and just maybe if it's the inclusion of these clips that's setting that price up a little bit higher. If you could save $20 by not having these clips in there, I would definitely do it that way. So that's what contributed to my 7.5 score. As it's still good. It's just not like glowingly outstanding, I would say. So I would recommend this to anybody that still wanted to do, run this as competition strictly outside the waistband on your belt, and just, maybe opt out of these or ask them specifically for the, there's also pancake style belt loops too, if you are familiar with the pancake style. And those would probably be more up your alley. Those are $18 for a pair. Or just get these, the belt clips. Let's see. Yeah, inside the waistband belt clips are also $18 for a pair. They're injection molded, and I think they'd be a better option for you. So they'd fit 1.5 and 1 3/4 inch belts too. So there's my review on that. You guys have any questions?
I was going to ask, what are the edges like? Are they super smoothed out, or?
Yeah, they're really smoothed out.
Kind of figured.
Yeah, I mean, you can kind of see if I can get the right angle of the lighting there.
Yeah, I can kind of see it there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really, you can tell that they, obviously hand fit these. The hardware, if someone go ahead and ask me a question while I'm pulling this hardware out.
I don't have anything.
Okay. The hardware is really easy. You've got a, female end, it's threaded on the inside. You've actually got your male end screw, and then you've got this nice black rubber O-ring that goes in between the two and just acts as a nice little bushing. That's all there is to it.
Cool.
So, anyway, that's my review. I wanted to thank Bravo Concealment for sending me this holster. This is a firing line review where they requested a review, and I really appreciate them sending it out to me. Their customer service has been outstanding as far as Mark's been getting a hold of me and answering my questions, and kind of explain that the disparity of people's body type and build is something that is to be considered. Obviously, if I was 160, 150 pounds, like I probably should be, lean and mean, then shoving this inside my pants and carrying it inside the waistband would still be viable. Granted, I would argue that it still wouldn't be as comfortable as something that follows this template of more traditional. But
So Ryan, this kit comes with both mag pouches, right?
yes.
Or does it just come with one? Okay. Yeah, I guess
Comes with
that
both.
price isn't terrible. $142 for 2 mag pouches, and because mag pouches usually run $30 and up, so you got to think $60 for 2 mag pouches and $80 for a holster. It's reasonable.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely not crap. It's gonna last you, and I think that's probably what I'm not used to. Is that I'm used to buying. I'm not saying I'm used to buying crap, but I'm used to buying Kydex holsters.
Uncle Mike over here.
Oh no, I am. My game is much higher than Uncle Mike, but you guys are funny.
Blackhawk.
Yeah, I'm a.
Black Hawk operator, baby. Black Hawk operator.
Man, I love it. No, this is good stuff. I just, I'd probably like to see them bring the price down like $20, and that'd be more in my reasonable range. But then again, $20 is $20, and it's still gonna run you for a long time and be good gear. This is G2G, guys, or GTG. Is that what you guys say? Good to go.
Either way.
Yeah. So anyway, moving on to the tech gadget or app segment. We talked about a camera last week for your bow, and I wanted to talk about a new camera that you can wear or have mounted onto your rifle. That's not going to be a GoPro. So this is from Midland. It's a Wi-Fi HD wearable action camera. The MSRP is $259.99, so $260. It is very easy to operate. It's just got a single slide switch to record. You want to stop recording, you just slide the switch the other direction. Bam. You can get it in mossy oak breakup camouflage. It's got Wi-Fi control, so you can control the camera with your iPhone or Android to view what you're capturing. So, that's kind of nice too. If you have it on a stationary mount or strapped to a tree or something, you can almost use it like a live feed. You can take still photos or have a time-lapse capability, capture still images in 12 megapixels, and set intervals for time-lapse photography using the Smart app. It's got a 3-point mounting system for stability and versatility, and a variety of mounts are available. You can get your Picatinny. I don't know if they're up on their M-Lock and Keymod game, but you can definitely get a Picatinny for this. It's easy to use, just with that single switch. It's got a rapid charge battery. The battery lasts up to 4 hours, which really is its most glaringly awesome feature because GoPros don't really last that long. Mine typically only lasts about 2 hours if I'm lucky. I've got a Hero 3. I don't know if the Hero 4 is going to last longer than that. I have to look that up. But 4-hour battery life is really awesome, and you can charge it really fast. Dimensions, it's 1.42 inches by 3.66 inches at its length, and it's only 2.2 inches thick, and it weighs 4.8 ounces, including the battery. And there's a bunch of different accessories you can buy from Midland, USA. You can get a monopod mount, a tripod mount. The USB cable just uses mini USB. But yeah, I think it's pretty cool. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I like that they do offer the Picatinny attachments. You don't have to rig something up, so that's pretty cool. I'm not too versed on cameras, so I don't have much to say.
Yeah,
But
I think. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I was just curious. I didn't see anywhere if it's got any way to waterproof it.
I have seen.
oh.
I've seen the camera in a waterproof case. I don't know if it
Yes.
was one of their other wearable
Which
action cameras.
which model is this?
This is the 1080p HD. It's
Oh,
the
XTC.
X. Yeah, 450 VP.
okay, if you go to
Yes.
what's in the box, it says it comes with a submersible case.
Exactly. I just saw that. But I just clicked on it. I'm like, oh
That's
wait,
good
never
to
mind.
250 feet. So that's actually, I mean, if you wanted to wear this diving, that's a pretty good depth for diving too.
Yeah, I'm.
And it comes with mounts. It just says universal mounts. I'm not sure how all the different mounts it
That's-
comes with
I
out
think
of the
you're gonna have to
box.
you're gonna have
Probably
to buy the
order
Picatinny
20.
mounts separately.
Yeah, the only mount it probably comes with is your standard tripod mount.
Yeah, probably. You're right. Being that
it
they
says-
say universal.
Did you say the price on it was $259, but on their website it says MSRP is $219.99. So
Oh yeah, I forgot to change that. Yeah. Well, no, I think you're looking at the wrong model again because the
Yeah.
model
Yeah.
that I'm looking at is 260, but
Yeah.
they do
Okay.
have other models that are even less.
okay,
And I think they're lacking the Wi-Fi capability to sync with your phone app.
okay.
So you can get
So it's-
other. If you're looking for little less features, you can go cheaper.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But they also offer here right under it. If you do want it, you can pick it up with free FedEx ground shipping. So $260 is what you pay.
There you go.
Nice.
Actually, that's a pretty good deal. I didn't. Of course, I'm spacing off, and I was trying to read this while Ryan was doing his review, and I was gonna see if it mentioned anything about what the lens on the camera is, but I couldn't find anything to see if it's like something will let a lot of light in, or is it gonna have trouble in low light situations? So I
yeah,
was.
I don't know. I mean, as
Yeah.
long as it's not like fisheye like GoPro, I think that's what a lot of people care about is looking for an alternative that doesn't make something at 20 yards look like it's at 100 yards.
Right.
But the Picatinny mount is $20, and then they also have they've got a rifle mount. Looks like that might go on like a bipod stud. They've got a belt mount. They got a head strap, a visor mount to clip onto either the visor of your car or maybe the brim of your hat even. Goggle mounts, handlebar mounts, suction cup mounts for your dash, or whatever else you feel like you can suction that thing to.
Yeah, they got all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Chad, I found a couple specs on it. It says
Oh,
you have the lens has 7 elements, 6 tempered glass, 1 IRF, 270-degree variable lens rotation, 5 inches to infinity focus, light sensitivity of 1.5 V/lux per second. So if any of that means anything to you.
a little bit.
And it has a 3-year warranty too, in case you get it and you dive with it past 250 or you break it in some other way, and don't obviously tell them that you dove 300 feet, but you can get it replaced in 3 years, so that's good.
I'm just glad to see that GoPros, people are bringing out stuff that is going to compete with the GoPros.
Well, it's kind of much flatter than a GoPro, so I mean it's not as streamlined as like the Contour camera. This almost looks like a Contour, but like with an extra little housing, kind of a rounded square jutting out from the so
Right.
it's gonna be on your side of your head or on your belt. It's not gonna be as obtrusive as a GoPro, where you pretty much have to have it sticking straight out.
Yeah, it's not going to be front and center. It's going to be like at the, if you have it on your head, it's going to have to go on your temple, or temple indexing for Nick if he's watching.
Nice.
Yep.
So you got the link for that in the show notes. Go to midlandusa.com to
See,
check out those XTC cameras.
you have a firearm blog link in here as well?
Yeah, I've got an
Is there a
article
read it?
from the firearm blog. They did kind of an article on there, kind of talks about a little bit more in detail.
Okay.
Want to give them some proper linkage. So that's it for this week. Got no listener feedback, so we're just getting close to 2-hour mark, so I want to make sure we wrap it up. Send questions or comments to podcast@firearmsinsider.tv or cross@firearmsradio.tv. Remember to subscribe and leave us an iTunes review. Check out all the other shows on the Firearms Radio Network at firearmsradio.tv/iTunes. And be sure to visit the Firearms Insider for this review, more reviews, and future industry coverage. So that's the end of the show. I wish everyone have a good week. Stay safe, stay cool. I've actually got a sunburn that's peeling right now, and it's very uncomfortable. Like the end of most shows, I want to make sure that Tony gets to plug whatever he's doing for his Second Amendment activism. Let's hear it, man.
All right, I finally scheduled my newest range date. It's September 17th, 6 o'clock. Going to be at Gun for Hire Range in Woodland Park, New Jersey. The second is for everyone. Diversity Shoot is on again. Come out. It's growing every time I have one of these. Actually, it's going to be a lot of fun this time. We have a lot more people. They bring a lot more guns. Last time we had a guy who had a revolver from the 1830s that was actually, 1860s. 1860s, 1880s, one of the two. The guy shot it so much he had to send it back to the factory to have it redone in 1911. So he had it from then. The guy had a pearl-handled, nickel-coated, like 32 long, Smith & Wesson long. It was awesome. He allowed us to shoot that. I mean, the guy pulled out bags. It looked like he pulled out guns out of his bag like, I'm going to get you, sucker. He had 10 pistols lined up. They had a Utah's 12 gauge. They had a Smith & Wesson AR-10. Just guns out the yin-yang. So if you want to come out, Second Amendment Shoot is being held again on September 17th at Gun for Hire Range in Woodland Park, New Jersey. Come to my page, Simon Says Train. I have it pinned to the top of the page. So if you want to come, please show up. I'd appreciate you. Thank you.
Yep. As always, guys, I'll catch you on the next week. Thank you, Chad and TJ, for also joining me.
Yep, thanks for having me.
All right. Yeah,
Awesome.
it's a good time.
Thanks, Ryan.
Yep, catch you guys later.